My friends, we're back again for another fun-filled episode of the Courageous Pivot podcast. I am your host, Meghan Telpner, and I want to thank you as always for joining me. Today's conversation is dynamic, is jam-packed, is full of energy because today we have my friend Kristen Gale joining the show. Before I get into Kristen's bio and how we go way back 20 years, I want to remind you and invite you to please make sure you are subscribed over on courageouspivot.com, where you can access a few in-between goodies and receive every episode delivered right to your inbox with quick access to the show notes and the links and all the goodies that come with our show. Back to Kristen. Kristen and I met 20 years ago. We were both just starting our businesses in the Queen West area of downtown Toronto. We couldn't remember exactly how we met. Kristen thinks she has a vague idea, but immediately, as soon as we met, I was attracted to her dynamism, her energy, her charisma, her creativity, her incredible sense of humor. And we were both really at a very similar position in life. We kind of knew what we wanted to do for work, and we were on a mission to find really great men and build these wildly successful businesses, which we both ended up doing in our own special ways. Kristen's official bio is this. Kristen Gale is the founder behind the 10 Spot Beauty Bars, growing it from one Toronto location into an international franchise with 40 plus locations across Canada and the US. She started the business at just 24 years old and has since become a leader in beauty franchising, earning honors like Canada's Top 40 Under 40, Chatelain's W100, which is Top 100 Entrepreneurs in Canada. I also landed on that list. And EY's Winning Women. Under the leadership, the 10 Spot has received multiple industry awards, including Profit Magazine's Fastest Growing Companies and Entrepreneur's Top Global Franchise. Her mantra, Life at a 10, now powers her coaching work, where she helps achieving women move from overwhelmed to energized so they can lead and live fully on their own terms. Why I invited Kristen on was I wanted to ask her about the growth of her business, how she went from the single location, which was just down the road from where I am now, to having a full-on franchise, to moving through a marriage and a divorce with a young child, finding a new partner, and also what brought her to my attention most recently was her new program about how to CEO the shizzle out of your life. How to live your life at a 10. And it goes beyond just the idea of, wanting that and the intention and the journaling. But through her program, she offers actual strategies. And these are the strategies we talk about in this episode, because it's one thing to have your core values. It's one thing to know what you want out of life, but also knowing how to actually live in that alignment is really what the Courageous Pivot is all about. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with my longtime friend, Kristen Gale. Kristen Gale, welcome to the Courageous Pivot podcast. So happy to have you here.
I am so excited and delighted to be here. So thank you so much for having me.
We went straight into reminiscing because we have known each other for 20 years.
I know. It's wild. I was saying we grew up together. Like we were, in our 24 years old kind of thing. Into our 40s, mid 40s.
Yeah, but we look the same, as we said. Do you remember how we actually met?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
Now this could be a lie. I could be making this up, but I think I had a girlfriend that was coming to one of your evening studio classes. And then she brought me because I definitely remember being there. We made a sweet potato krugel, which was delicious. Learned a new salad dressing, but it was so early on in healthy eating that you were so at the forefront of that sweet potatoes were what?
I know.
Sweet potatoes. Why would we eat a sweet potato? You're so it was so kale was not a thing at the time. It was, you were at the forefront of healthy eating.
I brought kale to the forefront. I'll take that.
I think you did. Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah. So I remember at the time you had a group of girlfriends that I kind of just joined.
Yeah.
And everyone was wildly new age. I think you met through Landmark Forum.
Yes, I did. Yeah. So I met them. I went to a Landmark Forum weekend, which was actually amazing. I know it gets a cult rap, but to be honest, if you don't let yourself get into the call, you're fine. The actual education I thought was fantastic. And I met this one girl, Tara, and then we bonded over our breaks or through the process of like being in this intense program together for the weekend. And then she asked me if I wanted to go on her houseboat for the weekend with her friends. And I was like, yeah, I do. That sounds great. Like, had never met her that weekend. It was just like, yep, sounds good. When are we going? And then spent this incredible weekend on her houseboat with these other women, bonded with those women as you do on a houseboat weekend. And then I think it was one of those, I was going to say girls, because we were kind of girls at the time, invited me to come along to one of your workshops. And then you became in the fold of that group, I think, because we hung out a bunch.
We did. And what I remember about that group is that I think it was the first group of women I'd met in what I refer to as my new life. Like, I'd left the corporate world, I'd healed, I'd gone into health, and suddenly I met these women that like wanted to do really weird, fun, wholesome things. Like, it was very wholesome what we did. We like cooked together, we had meals together.
Yes. Went to like yoga classes.
Well, I was going to say,
dance parties and stuff.
Yes.
It was very new agey at the time when it was really new agey.
And you already had your business, and I appreciated that all of these women, including yourself, were entrepreneurs. We're all trying to get something started, and there was just this wonderful support for everybody, which was also new to me. I'd always had challenges with female friendships in high school, and you know, in the fashion world, it's not so nice generally. But you introduced me to Kundalini yoga. Like, do you remember we started going? It was the weirdest. It was a carpeted yoga studio. And I remember it was weird. And I've done Kundalini since, and it was not quite like this, but there was like, we had to be babies, and we were like kicking our feet in the air and fake crying. It was so bizarre.
Oh my God. I did so many weird things, which I'm so glad I did. You know, like I really did the gamut of all experiences that you could do, from like New York City nightlife, railing caterpillars, to like being so new agey, to like everything in between. And I love that. I feel like my job on planet Earth is to just rack up experiences, connection and experiences, and just sort of like as far out as I can go in my sphere, because I'm obviously not going to have all of the experiences that you can on Earth, but like in the realm of wherever my game touches, I want to just rack up as many experiences as possible. So
I'm going to fully pretend that I know what railing caterpillars means.
Don't,
no. Yeah. Okay. So you had opened the 10 spot. Tell me, explain what the 10 spot was then and what it is now.
Yeah. So I lived in New York City for a little bit, and I lived above a nail bar that was super busy all the time, like manis and pedis and that kind of thing. Only it was like pretty gross. It did actually, that place I do remember had carpeting. And if you can imagine, like, you know, nail clippings and callus shavings on carpet, like it was disgusting. And then I moved to Montreal, and then finally in Toronto for a bit. I'm from Winnipeg originally.
Me too.
And and then I forgot about that. And then when I lived here, I was fired from my graphic design job. And this was the second time I had been fired in like total of 3 jobs. So 2 jobs, fired for 2 of them. And one of them was an unpaid internship. So I was like, this corporate thing is not working out. And I knew it. I did not like being told when I had to be somewhere, when I was allowed to have lunch, and how long I could have lunch. And I felt like I was always scamming these ways to be like, I think when you are forced to do something, you kind of find these weird ways to like be free or like get some autonomy in your situation. So I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go make a tea right now, and just like stand there for a long, like I just did not like being told what to do. And I felt that the workday took up so much time that I really felt like at 5 p.m. I was like, I'm done. I'm taking classes. Like, I was a huge George Brown class taker. So I was like, I have my photography class to get to. I have my painting class to get to. I have my sewing class to get to. I took an acting class, and I just felt like I wanted to live so much more life, and just being stuck in this situation I wasn't enjoying it. And I think my boss could tell because I was not the one, raising my hand to stay late. And I worked in advertising and marketing. So it's like if you're leaving before 7 p.m., like what is your problem? You are not committed. You're not into it. And I was actually good. I'm a good graphic designer, but I would do my job and then be like, I'm done. I'm not staying here to stay.
I think I remember that too, because I'd also worked in advertising before this, and my father ran an ad agency, and he used to joke about his business that it was like, if you don't come in on Saturday, don't bother showing up Sunday. And that was the culture in advertising. You worked all the time.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's like you were working to live versus living to whatever. I'm getting that wrong, but I was essentially like, I wanted to do something different. So I got fired. I think the company dissolved, but like it was the rounds of layoffs and I was like one of the first to go. And then I thought I could either go and get another job that I would probably not enjoy and love, because I worked at the greatest company. This was the pinnacle of ad agencies. It was an awesome job. I just was not fit for the job. And so I thought, or I could go for my plan A, which is always, since I was a kid, wanting to have my own business. My dad was an entrepreneur. And he said to us kids, like, you can do whatever you want in life, just as long as you make it into a business. And I actually didn't have anything that I was super passionate about making into business, but I was passionate about business and marketing and advertising and all of that stuff. It's why I went into graphic design, was that I could do my own branding. And so then I was fired on Friday. And on the Sunday, I had my idea and I wrote my little business plan. And by that Wednesday, I had signed a lease without actually getting financing, which is, I do not recommend doing that. I just was so naive at the time. I didn't actually understand that you can't just break a lease. Like if you sign, you're on the hook for it. I just thought, if I don't get money, like whatever, I just won't do it. But like a couple months later, we were open. And so what it was a nail bar that wasn't gross. And so being a nail bar, I was also like, I'll do like we'll do nails in the front. And then in the back room, I'll throw in a couple pots of wax and like call it a day. And this seems like a very easy business model to run. And that's what we did. And it was more of a social spa. So also at the time in Toronto, there wasn't a lot of extra things to do. Like now there's so many, you can fill a weekend with so many things to do, right? There's like pickleball and knitting and carpet making and jewelry making. And like back in the day, there just wasn't all of these opportunities. And so really to go out and hang out with your girlfriends as a young single person in the city was like, you go to brunch, you go for drinks or for brunch or like during the day. And then you maybe go shopping, like window shopping.
Carpeted Kundalini classes.
Or carpeted Kundalini classes. Like I was doing all of the things I could possibly do. And I just felt like this could be another thing to do. Like you could go for manis and petties with your girlfriends on the weekend. And at the time, this seems like, what are you talking about? Of course people do that. But at the time, 20 years ago, you didn't do that. There wasn't really these spaces that were designed to have it so that you're sitting with your girlfriends at the same table, or you're like all at a petty banquet and you can have a glass of wine and, like whatever, spend your Saturday together. And so that was the concept, was nail bar, efficient, clinically clean, but in this sort of more social spa environment where you could have a glass of wine or you could bring your gal pals. Yeah. And so that was 20 years ago. And then it really took off. And then I built out a couple more locations, corporate stores, and then we just started franchising. So that's how we ended up across Canada and into the US.
Something I've always admired about you is how fast you move on things, because I'm a fast mover too, and there aren't a lot of fast movers. Like a decision's made, you take action, and we'll get to your marriage as well. And you branded things so uniquely, and you have a real sense of humor in your design. And one of the first things I remember you showing me that you had done was you had branded the various styles of bikini waxes you could get.
Oh, yeah.
And they were hilarious.
They were funny. Yeah. And then we put them on the window of the,
yes.
It was Queen West was our first location. And we had these giant, like 3-paneled windows. So it was like a huge billboard. And yeah, we're like, best Brazilians in Toronto, named by me. Like I just was making shit up. And then we actually won the awards. And so I was like, then put like Now Magazine, best Brazilians. But like at the time I was like, who said? I'm saying they're the best Brazilians in Toronto. I'll make a cut vinyl and stick that up there and put the things on. But yeah, it was fun.
So how did you finance it initially? Like to
I
cover the
got, I did,
renovation?
yeah. So that Sunday night when I had the idea, I actually did download a business plan template and filled it out and brought it to the bank. But I had signed the lease prior to actually figuring out that I had gotten the money. So I got $100,000 loan. And the government guaranteed like the small business financing loan that I even all of our locations still end up getting to this day. It's a great loan. It's for bricks and mortar spaces. Well, back in the day, it was for bricks and mortar spaces. Maybe they've opened it up since COVID, but yeah. So thankfully, I did get some money.
And when did you know that you had the capacity and were ready to build out the documentation, I guess you need first to create a franchise? Like,
That was so easy because I actually consider myself as getting fired 3 times in my career. The third time was when I fired myself, being like, you're a shitty manager. Like, I hated dealing with the general public. Like, it was so anxiety inducing for me to have to be on the floor as the front of the business, dealing with employee issues, dealing with, because like I'm not a confrontational person. So to have to be like, hey, you're late for your appointment, but you also have a Starbucks in your hand. Like, maybe let's not do that. It's not my, like, I hated it every second
yeah.
of actually having to manage it. And I ended up, when I signed the lease for the space, I ended up taking the storefront on the front and renting the apartment in the back as well, because the storefront wasn't big enough. So I was like, well, what if I rent the whole thing and we knock out this wall and I take away one room from the apartment and I only need a 1-room bedroom. And so we actually, like, I renovated the whole first floor of this guy's space and I lived in the back. So I was like, they say entrepreneurship is like a 24/7 thing. This was literally 24/7 because something would happen and somebody would knock on my door and I'd open up like, a closet door and be like, hi, what do you need? And it was overload. So I was very lucky because one of my very first initial staff members that I had hired was so good, was just incredible. She's an esthetician, but she just had that authority and that presence. And so I ended up hiring her as the manager, firing myself, letting her take over to manage the front of house and actually manage the location. Then I was like, well, what am I going to do? I still need a job. Like, I have to do something. And so I really was able to so quickly work on the business instead of in the business. And so really one of the first things I did, besides like the marketing and promotion and stuff like that, which I'd always done, was to be like, well, you need a management manual. Like, I still know how I want this thing to be managed. I just don't want to be the one to actually do it. And so really that was my first operations manual, was the management manual. And then I was like, this is so fun. Like, and I also wanted all of our services, especially in the spa industry back in the day, every esthetician just did whatever they learned in school or at their last job. So you would be sitting beside somebody getting a manicure and you might get really detailed cuticle work and the other person just gets sort of like a cleanup, and they might get an extra long massage and you would get like cream rubbed into your hands. And so I felt that, well, now, since that would be fine if everybody's in their own little cubicle or in their own little station and you don't know what's going on. But when you're sitting there and you're supposed to have a manicure that's the same experience and the same length of time as the person sitting right beside you, I was like, we need to standardize this. So then started writing out the esthetician manuals, and then then we needed a guest coordinator. So I did the guest coordinator manual. And so I'd actually built out the basis of a franchise system without realizing that I was doing that. It was just, I'm a nerd. Like, I love writing operational procedures. I love learning new software and like writing software manuals. Now you don't need to do it, but like in the day I'd be like, screen grab, like open up this tab and enter in this. And I'd like screen grab, but put it in. And so like our manuals are so like, they're intense. But I loved doing that kind of thing. And then when I went to go open up my second location, I had everything I needed in order for that to run really smoothly, and just had a manager in there from day one, even before day one, because I had, written out like, this is all the stuff you need to put in the location. So
that feels so rare, because most small business owners and operators either are opening it because they're passionate and want to be right in the business and therefore have no idea how to work on the business,
right,
or
right.
have like the like a hint of the vision they want, but most of the time just are constantly making it up as they go and have
Yeah.
no foundational processes in place. I
Yeah.
didn't have actual process in place till I had an operations manager who knew what she was doing. I think I was like
Mm,
10 years in before we even
wow.
started documenting processes.
Right.
I mean, there was Asana project management, so people had like checklists,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so much of it was just in my brain. And I think
Right.
that's how so many small businesses operate, with the
Yeah.
founder being the bottleneck of everything and most
Yes.
often being
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm still a problem, but it's in different ways. I think you're right because I'm not particularly passionate about aesthetics or the beauty industry. Like I'm
Right.
very, I used to joke that my face wash was Bumble and Bumble as it like would suds down my face. So I wasn't a beauty junkie into the services necessarily or the product side of things. I just loved business.
Yeah.
I loved the marketing side of things and the creativity and the autonomy to just, as you say, I was a graphic designer at the agency. So I wasn't a marketer. I didn't go to school for marketing. I just felt like I'm the target demo right now of the people that are going to come here. And what do I think is funny? And what would I want to hear? And also back in the day, everything that came out of a company was very corporate, like the employees must wash their hands, like management. And so every sort of newsletter or promotion or things was very advertising-y and very professional and corporate. And I was like, well, I wanted to be professional. So like there's no handwritten signs allowed in any of the bars, and still to this day, like we have to type them and they have to look nice. But things like, our first email that I sent out was just to a database of like everybody that I possibly knew. And I asked them to give me emails of people that I could, send out these emails to. And it was like, oh, I'm opening up a nail bar. F yeah. And like, come and get a hand job, which is our male manicure for the guys. Like, I just kind of wanted to speak to my guests or, clients. We call them guests now, but in the same way that I wanted to be spoken to,
Yeah.
that was like just more casual and friendly. And so a lot of the marketing was me, like our newsletters were me being like, hey, we're going to have online booking soon. Here's me like taking a picture of the computer, setting up the background of the online booking software. I'm being like, hope it works out, or like we've launched, let me know if there's any problems. Cause like, I don't know, I'm just setting it up.
As you're building this out and like then you say you switch to online booking and you already have several locations, did you ever feel like stifled by what you could do because you then had to, rewrite your manuals or like roll it out en masse?
I think when we started franchising, that was a big shift because prior to that, it was like I joke that it's the Kristen spot because everything was just me. Like these were the services I love. The newsletter was written from my perspective. Even on our website, I linked to my personal blog that was called Dating Myself. And it wasn't even about business. It was just personal, like me, enjoying the adventures of the city and girlfriends and going out and doing weird things and having all of these experiences in my life. And so it was so deeply personal that it like the business and that merged. Whereas when we started franchising, I was like, this isn't just me anymore. And so I had to peel back a lot of that, where it was like, this isn't Kristen writing a newsletter to all of my guests. It was the 10 spot is now writing a newsletter. And, there was still things that I would write in there that would be from the personal perspective of launching it. Like, I'm so excited that we're launching this new location and come and join us. But I wasn't pulling back the curtain as much as I had prior. And so I think that was a big shift. And yeah, it was a bit of an adjustment to not have that go out and to also figure out what else worked. And so putting the franchise partners more forward as that, because it's their businesses. They're licensing the brand from me and they're getting all of the how to set it up. It's like, here's your business in a box, but then they are the face of their local business. And so that, and I want that because it is true. Like it's, even though it's a franchise, it's still a very local business. You know, the April and Sault Ste. Marie, it's her baby. It's her business. She's there. She's the face of that location and the face of our brand out there. And so that was just, it took a little bit of adjustment. I mean, the whole franchising thing was a major, like, whoa, I started a brand new business without realizing I had started a brand new business. And it took some very patient first few franchise partners of mine to really learn that and figure it out, and then hit our stride together.
How long was it before you started selling franchise opportunities?
So I think, I mean, I don't, like, I might get the timelines wrong on this, but I think I had started the second location, the Leslieville location, 3 years in. And around that time, I went to the lawyer because it's so easy to become a franchise. You literally go to a lawyer and you pay, at the time it was $50K, now it's probably more, to take a templated agreement, find and replace some other brand's name for your name, and then fill out a couple more things in that. But like, it's, then you're a franchise and you're allowed to sell franchises to anybody. It is a very different thing to actually be a franchisor and to learn what that means. And like a good example of what I'm talking about is like, I knew we had manuals and guides for everything in the location. So that was already done, like aesthetics, management manual, everything, all of that stuff was done. But I didn't have the other side of the business done. So the beauty bars, that side is done. So the guests, the best way to do it is by customers. So the customers of the beauty bar are people coming in for manicures, pedicures, and waxing. The customers of the franchise business that I had accidentally started, that I didn't know it was any different, is franchise partners. So I had nothing built on that side. So that's what I mean is like, they, you know, I had these, and ironically, I had offered them for franchising up. Then I built out 2 more stores before I actually first sold a location. And then she was looking for a space. And then I ended up selling another one 6 months later. But by the time they both found their spaces and started construction, they opened within a week of each other. So it was like, not only was it, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm flying by the seat of my pants, not even, you know, able to, like, some things I was one baby step ahead of them on, and some things I was like behind on, and that they're asking, and because there was 2 people, they're asking for different things at different times. So one was really like, I want to get marketing, I want to do stuff. And I'm like, I haven't even gotten you an email address. Like, I didn't even realize that I need to do it. Like, of course I do, but you know, like I didn't realize this need to have. And then the other person would be like wanting to start their initial orders for their location. So it was so different and so much coming at me. And so that was really, then I had to build out another manual, which it was also fun to be like, okay, when we have a new bar, so now we call it our new bar opening pipeline, and it's 5 phases, which is like, this is the initial phase. Like, first, we're getting you onboarded to our system. Here's your email address. Here's your business cards. Because it's fun when you open a business to have business cards right away. And like, you know, that's exciting. Like, here's what you need to do to go look for your space. Here's a business plan template. Here's a financial projections template, all the way up to phase 2. Now you've got your space and you've got your contractor and blah, blah, blah. So it was really building out that. And I just didn't, that to me now is what I do. I sold my corporate stores. So like that new business that includes that new bar opening pipeline and all of the marketing support and operation support, like it's so much. And now when I think about it, it's like, that is my business. And I didn't have any of that ready for when I actually brought on partners.
To me, that it sounds insane, like insane to have to document that much on the fly and also kind of get it right the first time, because you've got people who've invested their savings and livelihoods into creating this business.
It's huge. Yeah.
So the offer for franchisees is they would pay like the initial startup cost, and it's an annual licensing to continue. Is that how it works?
Not annual. So in franchising, there's really 3 main fees. And there's a couple of, there's like other stuff that would just be part of your normal business if you had a spa, like spa software or insurance, things like that. But the main fees in franchising are the initial fee. So that's when you sign a franchise agreement, that's what gets signed. And that's what gets you from knowing nothing about the business that you're going to operate to being fully open and operational. So it's all of it's a bit of a pass through you don't make much money. You don't make money on your initial fee because it's all of your staff and the support and getting everything just organized and getting them really fully trained and supported through finding a location, building it out, get, all of the hiring and all of that stuff and just getting them like to being open. Once they start making money, you get a percentage of their top line revenue. It's usually 6%. I've never really seen it in the industry be higher or lower. And then there is oftentimes a brand fund or an ad and marketing fund, which is not revenue for the franchisor. Like revenue to me on my line items is the initial fee, which again, I don't make money on it, but really it's the royalties. So getting 6% of all those locations, which is a numbers game. Like it's like a Walmart thing. Like you're just getting like a bit of money, but you've got to have a lot of locations in order for it to make sense financially and have it be a worthwhile business. But the ad fund is you just collect it on behalf of all of the franchisees. It's how Tim Hortons can afford Justin Bieber and Ryan Reynolds. It's like they've all pulled together a bit of money, whereas no one coffee shop could afford Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
I mean, maybe now because of all the drama. But
somewhere early on in this, because this is about courageous pivots, you met your husband, you got married, I want to say like 3 weeks later. Your first husband.
So yes, I'm in between husbands right now, but
you have a partner now who seems quite lovely from what I've seen.
I was waiting for my ring. It's literally in the house. Like we designed it. It's been done for a year. He's just waiting for the right moment. I feel like I've just put too much pressure on like the actual ask. And so, so we met and I actually met him off the tail of a very like rough period in my life and self-imposed roughness, but like I just like head was not glued on straight. And so we met and then like our first date, we met on the Sunday. He took me on my first date on the Wednesday to this place called Bistro 1010. And I was like, can't believe you took me here because 10 has been a major theme in my life. Chris 10. I was born in October, the 10th month. And then I named my business the 10 spot because it was like perfect 10 nails, 10 finger, like, the whole thing, like there's 10s. And I was like, I also really thought that I would get married on 10-10-10, like October 10th, 10, because 2010 was coming up. And I was like, but that's obviously not going to happen because it's already 2010. And he's like, let's do it. I was like, what? And he's like, let's fucking do it. Like I've never met anybody like when we were both in that, like we were just buzzing off of each other kind of thing. Cause we had met and spent like all day and night on the phone for like from the Sunday to the Wednesday kind of thing. And I was like, let's do it. And I don't know, I'm an experienced person, right? I was like, this is an experience. I've dated so many other guys that like, it didn't work out. This guy was so the opposite of all of them. I was like, this is meant to be.
Did you go on a first date to the Wheat Sheaf? Why do I think that?
Yes, it was. That's where I met him. So I
even know that in my brain.
I don't know either. Just amazing. I don't know. It was a fun time. Yeah.
Well, all I remember is you met this guy at a pub and then you got married and moved to the suburbs and I didn't see you again till today.
Yeah. I know. Literally. Yeah. That's what happened. Yeah, we were, like I said, I was having a really tough time. And so my girlfriend and I were going to go for wings and beer. And she texted me and said, hey, I met these really fun guys. Can they come? And I was like, Heather, what the fuck? Like, no, it's girls. Like we're doing a girls night thing. And she's like, too late, they're coming. And then I met him. I was like, oh, hi, hello. And then ended up, long story short, and then moved to Hamilton because he was actually from Hamilton.
Right.
And then, so I had a house in Parkdale. I sold it. We then were able to buy like a mansion in Hamilton for the exact same amount of money, which was a stupid idea because like, you don't need that. We didn't need that much space. It was dumb. And it was a heritage building. So I was like, anyway, I also, you know what, with trying to live life at a 10 and rack up experiences, you're going to make some mistakes but they're learning lessons. They're not mistakes ever. Right. And so, we moved out there and then it was actually his idea to franchise. So he knew a guy in the franchising industry and we went for like lunch and I learned about it. And then we used his lawyer to get it all done. And then I ended up doing a corporate store in Hamilton as well. Also too, just to be like, hey, does this model works in Toronto downtown and this model works when I'm there. Is this model actually going to work in a franchise situation where I'm not there? I don't live in the same city as the head office and it's a totally different market. And it did do well. So we were like, okay, I think we've tested it enough with these 4 bars and we can go ahead.
Okay. So I had seen the program you were launching about living life at a 10, which we're going to talk about. Like,
Yes.
what's the official title of the program?
Yes. So I don't know, because I really liked
Okay.
life at 10 is like my mission in
Yeah.
life and my mantra, but it's really the course that I built inside of that program is how to CEO the shit out of your life. And
Right.
that's really taking everything that I've learned from business that I applied to my life to get out of my shit situation, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. And then was like, this works. And of course it works. Like if you apply business principles that work for companies to align people on like the strategic vision that they have, the purpose of why they're there, their core values to get the goals that they want, of course it's going to work for one little human life.
Yes. I know. I created a program for people to apply financial, like how to manage the finances of a successful small business to your personal
To your
finances. So
personal, yeah,
you can be a profitable human, like build wealth
right,
in your own personal
yes,
life.
yes. Oh, I love that. Yeah,
I know not everyone did. They're like, why is Meghan teaching us about money? Go back to the kale. But whatever, it's brilliant. It's still available, everybody. So what caught my eye in your marketing, and this was a
yeah,
period where we were not connected at all, things were not going great for you. And I'd seen sort of your quote before photos, and I was like,
yeah.
that
Oh,
is not the
hiya, hi
woman
you.
I knew.
Yeah, I jumped from like a hard time in my life into my marriage like super quickly. And like I just to say, I freaking love my ex-husband so much, so much. We like co-parenting, we are amazing. We were not a match. Like it was an unstoppable force meets an immovable object type of a thing. And we just made each other freaking miserable. And I think because we jumped into it, we both come out of bad relationships and we both were like, you're the exact opposite of me and the exact opposite of anybody that I've ever dated or been with or whatever. So like right time, right place, like this must be like, magic. And it felt very magical. Like we met in May and we called it Magic May. It's just that like it just what we were so not from a fundamental purpose level. Like again, my purpose and mission in life is to rack up life experiences, strive to try to live the best version of my little existence that I've been gifted. And his was more like just to be normal and to be, his like idea of a perfect Saturday is like just relaxing and going and having a tea and New York Times and like this lovely day. And I'm like, let's go like Apple, like let's go do all these things. And so we just made each other miserable. And of course, when you feel, shitty, and we had also had a baby really quickly too. So we met in May, we got married by September, and by like November, I was pregnant. And so obviously that caught like it's also a very new relationship. So now you have this wife that's pregnant, and I was so sick for so long. So now it's like everything kind of compounded and made it was a perfect storm of misery. And so we were just like, after a while, and like we were married for 7 years, but at a certain point I was like, I'm miserable. I can't do this. I'm so not living aligned with my own purpose in life. Like I am a shell of a human being. I feel I am not confident that I can do anything. I feel like lost and confused and sad, and we were fighting all of the time. And I'm like, I used to be this like really bright, vibrant person, and I just felt like my dimmer switch was just turned all the way down. And I'm like, I'm a shell of who I used to be, and I can't do this. Like I could die anytime right now, and I am not living up to my potential of what I should be on planet Earth. I'm making another human being absolutely freaking miserable. I'm miserable. This sucks. And my kid is not getting to know his real mom. And so it was in and around that time that I was like, okay, what if I did the things that I did in business? Because also the business was like personal life dumpster fire. The business was on fire in a good way. And so like I was winning awards and like on magazine covers and like top 40 under 40 EY, like all these things. And I was like, what if I just took all the stuff that I was doing really well in business, having a strategy for my life and had really defining what's my vision, what's my purpose, what's my core values so I can, live them, and setting up goals and stuff like that, and then just applied it to my personal life. So that's what I did. I was like, I need to be the CEO of my life. And the first order of business was like as a CEO and as a business owner, you have to make shitty decisions that are the right decisions for the company, for all of the people involved, but they may, there may be some intermediate casualties in the interim. And so I was like, I have to end things. And before I did that, I actually did write out a vision for what I wanted our lives to be like. And during the talk, I was like, this is what I want. I want us to be like free each other so that we can be the people that we know we can be and not be miserable. And I know that like we will get through this as the very best people that we can possibly be to each other, so that like when Jack's wedding comes around and we're gonna fucking high five each other from across the aisle and be like, we did this. We were amazing. We did this for this kid. This kid now has like 2 peaceful, loving, happy homes versus one of them that's miserable, and like we can do this. And initially I don't think that the vision was shared, but like
how old was your son by the time you called it quits? He was 7 or 8?
6. Yeah, 6. He was 6. Things are hard initially, when it happens, but I would say like we got through it pretty well. And now it's great. Like we're actually friends. In fact, I have my future fiance, and we were at Jack's grade 8 graduation, and we were like sitting with my former husband and his new wife. And we're literally having the greatest time that somebody came up to it. One of my girlfriends came up, we were like with them the whole night. And she's like, who do I have to F in order to get in on this conversation? I was like, it was so good, because it is like, well, I'll just be like, we communicate all the time on text with, coordinating stuff. Like Jack's 14 now. I'll be like, I haven't talked to you. Like, it's been a couple weeks. Like, what's going on? Like, tell me the hot goss. Like, what's happening in your family? What's going on with me? So I can actually say like, we're friends and like good friends. Like he's still a person of mine, like in my life. And he actually said to me, he's like, I did not believe in your vision, but like you freaking did it. Like we did it, you did it, we did it kind of thing.
So from what I read in I don't know if it was your sales emails or what I was seeing on the website, I think maybe it's on the website for the program, like you'd put on a lot of weight, which is not your usual state of physical existence. Like most people have like a sort of natural way they can maintain without too much work. That was not your natural way of being.
No. Yeah.
So you ended your marriage. What were some of the strategies that you really put in place that shifted your mindset, how you felt, how you were able to go about your day with now being, an independent parent or a shared parent of a young child?
Yeah. I think like weight is one of those things that is so much more than that, because I think that I felt at the time, I actually started with that because it was one of those things where it was like, if I can't control what I eat in it, like how much I'm like stuffing in my face every day, like how can I even control like the rest of my existence? And so for me, it was about getting those little wins. So I started with that as like because here's the thing, confidence doesn't come from the scale. It doesn't come from the thing. In fact, I would say that I was more confident when I was heavier, but losing the weight than I would be now, because what it is to me is like confidence comes from self-integrity. And so that's where, and conversely, it gets eroded by a lack of self-integrity. So when you're like, I'm going to eat healthily all day, and then you don't, it erodes your self-confidence because you're not keeping your promise to yourself. Whereas if you do that, then you can keep, you build up your self-confidence, and confidence is built through repetition. So you do that one day and you're like, high five and to myself. And then you do it another day and you do it another day, and then you start seeing results. And then it's easier because, like, I don't actually believe that there's, willpower. It's just actually it's incentive structures, and you start seeing that working. And so I had started with that, and, just actually like I started swimming every day, and like, started to actually not eat terrible things and drink as much. And then it was really, so sort of around the same time, I was like building out what I actually wanted for my life. I, in fact, did this exercise about like, what's your perfect day? And not just like, oh, journal it for a second, like actually really legit go through, like, you're lying in a bed. What does the bed feel like? Like, where is the bed? Like, do you have a sense of like, are you in a cottage? Are you in a cabin? Are you in a Parisian apartment? Are you open your eyes? What are you seeing? Is it bright and colorful? Is it like stark? Like, what's the sunlight like? What's the thing? Like, you go through your perfect day minute by minute. And I realized that my perfect day was so not at all what my existence was. It was like my body didn't, because also in your perfect day, you're like, what does your body feel like? Like, how are you moving? What are you doing? Are you actually, all of these things. And I was like, oh, I am so far from what my life at a 10 would be like and where I am now. And I need to get more in alignment with that. And so part of that is figuring out, well, in that perfect day, what's my purpose? Because my purpose isn't to fight every day and be miserable and just be a workaholic and go to the mall, Sherway Gardens, just to get away from my home life situation. And then I'm missing out on my little boy's precious little life because I'm just, trying to avoid things. I was like, it's not that. It's to feel like I'm getting an A+ at my existence. I'm getting an A+ in my relationships. I'm getting an A+ with my kid. Like, not that you're always going to get an A+, but you're striving for it. You're studying hard. You're doing the work to do it. And so really figuring out what is my purpose and craft it, like writing it down on a piece of paper. And for me, it was like, I am here to live life at a 10, to be, intense and driven and go after this one short little precious experience that I get on planet Earth. Cause I don't know when I'm dying, and it could be tomorrow or it could be in 80 years, but like, I don't want to waste this. And I think it's so special to be alive. And then writing out core values and being like, what are my values? And so like my core values are like, do the work. Like, having a big, full, amazing life is not taking the slow, easy road of a slow life. It's an intense life. It's like, do the work, get up, like, go after it, make it happen. Hard to kill was one of them. Where it's like, I've got to be brave. I've got to be, like, if you're going to get knocked down, like, life's a learning lesson. Let's go for it. Let's do it. And everything happens for a reason, and really believing, not in a, Kristen 20s girl spiritual way of everything happens for a reason, but actually like, to not believe that everything happens for a reason is an idiotic victim mentality way to be like, well, this is just another shitty thing happening to me. It's like, why would you believe that? Like, just believe that this good is going to come out of this. I don't know what it is. Like, this sucks right now. This is horrible. But I think that something great's going to come back from it. And if I look at every other thing in my entire existence and I look back at like, that was a shitty thing that happened, but guess what? This, and this happened. And these were all of these gifts and all of these things I'm actually grateful for that it did happen. I was like, I'm going to have that again. This experience is just going to gift me something else that I don't know about it. So to believe in a very logical way that everything happens for a reason, I just don't know what it is. And I know I'm going to like be grateful for it later type of a way is, again, a core value of mine. And I just found that having, out of all of the things that I did from a business, I would say that the core values are the most important, because they're the behavior sets that guide your decision making. When things get hard, they help you stick to the stuff that you really want versus what you want right now.
Yeah.
Choose adventure is a core value of mine as well. And so, just knowing that that's, if I want a life at a 10 that is filled with experiences, the way to live that purpose and the way to get to the vision of having a full and incredible life that is going to flash before my eyes of this amazing movie montage of incredible memories, the core value of choosing adventure is the thing I need to do. So instead of staying at home and rotting on the couch, it's like, go for a bike ride, dum-dum. Like, this is how you get a life that you love.
I am a strong believer in the necessity of core values for your life. My money course starts. The first section is all about creating your core values, because if you don't,
amazing.
you have no concept of what you value, like what is valuable to you in your life, and from a money perspective, but from an experience perspective as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a powerful strategy to pull you into alignment with who you are now and who you want to become and for the life you want to be living, versus just, there's a lot of like, manifest it and imagine it, but having like an actual strategy and saying, I can do this today, or according to my core values, this is the choice that will bring me the life that I want.
Yes. And ironically, I think that spiritual stuff is absolutely so accurate, but it is placed in the mystical, versus like manifesting is actually being like, I want this, so I'm going to do the things that will bring me there. And you're like, I did create future me as the version that I wanted. I just did the work to get there and stayed in alignment with the things that I know I needed to do to be there.
I just taught a workshop based on the work of, I can't remember the name of the author right now. The book's called The Awakened Brain, but it's the idea of that to have what we might call a successful life, whatever those metrics are for each individual, you're working between achievement awareness and awakened awareness, where you want the awakened awareness to be like, this is what life is showing me, and I'm going to co-create with life. And, this is what this could mean.
Yes.
And the achieving awareness is like, and here's the goal that I'm going to set based on the information that I've been provided.
Yes. I love this. There's a Julia Cameron quote that I think is not exactly this quote because I looked it up, but essentially it's pray to catch the bus and then run like hell.
Yeah.
And I actually have revised it to be like, no, you're going to catch the bus, but then run like hell. Because otherwise, like you have to do, you have to do both. You have to believe in it so that you
have to do the work,
run like hell and then do the work. Yeah.
Something else you recently shared, which I really loved, and I don't remember what your situation was, but you said you find something really difficult, and so you set yourself little missions.
Oh, yes. That's actually from module number 9 in my program. No, I think that missions are so great because they give an objective that you can work towards, and you can use them for big, I call it like, you can do these like big life missions. So like my mission is to have a hot and sexy best friend, same page lover and life hack relationship with my person. That is a mission that I want for my life. Like it is part of my vision is like, I have a person that I'm obsessed with, that we are best friends. We're also little hot and sassy lovers. Like we are just like doing life together and loving it. That is a mission that I have for myself. And then I have to do the work to make it happen. If I want hot and sassy, we got to be doing it a bunch of times during the week. Like if I want, to feel like we're best friends and on the same page, it's like, let's do things that best friends do. Let's have a book club. Let's go on dates. Let's do adventures. Let's, learn stuff together. Like all the stuff that you would actually do with a BFF. But then you can also make mini missions. So I think the example you're thinking, I was like, I actually find it very hard I'm a super outgoing, gregarious person. But, like everything in life, the further you are, like you also have that in the opposite as well. And so I find that at parties, I can be awkward and weird, not from the perspective of like, we're in a conversation, I'm not saying awkward things to you, but I just feel like I don't like, there's so many people here and I'm supposed to talk to everybody. So I just have surface level conversations with people, but those are so fucking boring to me that I can't stay in a surface conversation. So I'll float and then I just end up at the snack table, like kind of there. And then just being like, when is this over? And so I found that if I have a mission, and sometimes I'll say to Chad, I'll be like, what's my mission tonight? And he's like, your mission is to, whatever it is, your mission is to make the host feel like they've got a partner in crime and that you're just going to like help with the host. So like, you're going to help with hosting in terms of like, like all the stuff that you would get people drinks, interact, mingle, like, connect new people, like, and they'll be like, great, that's my mission. And I'll go and do it. Or it's like, your mission is to get stuck in a really like deep, like medium talk to like deep conversation. And whoever you end up, running into and colliding into in the thing, like stay there and like, don't float around and don't whatever. And it's like, it's life-changing, like having these little mini missions. I've had some of the best, most connected conversations with people where, you end up being a thing, be like, oh, this is the person I'm gonna like get stuck and talk to right now. And then you do, and you're like, I had no idea that they did this. This is so interesting. We bonded, we connected, like I've learned new stuff. And so, yeah, I find you can do that with really any, with really any situation that you're in. You can just make it a mission. Like, make it a mission to have a connected experience with your kid and just be like, tonight is all about this kid. We're going to do whatever he wants, make him feel loved and special. Like the amount of times I had to play video games in my adult life. But at the same time, it's amazing because I'm like, this is my mission. And they, find it hilarious that I am so terrible and get teabagged by my teammates.
That's how I feel when I'm asked to play basketball in the driveway.
Oof, rough. That's rough. I'm sorry. But also great.
I know, but also like my 8-year-old wants to play b-ball with his mom. So
yeah, privilege.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Or hockey, we feel like shoot the ball. I hate it.
Yeah.
But I know, and I consciously,
yeah.
Yes, I'm consciously he's asked to do this with me and I'm going to
Yeah.
bring my best game, even though sometimes it
Yeah.
ends in him crying.
Oh my God. Why? Because you're that good? Do you turn it up?
No, but like sometimes like he gets hit with the ball or like
Mm-hmm.
I it's like
Mm-hmm.
a fine line when you're playing with boy, like how rough
Yes,
to
yes,
go,
yes,
you know?
yes. Yeah,
But we
yeah.
do it.
Catch. I actually love playing catch. That's what I'll like curve the thing over to be like, want to play catch right now? It's very
That's
fun.
what
Who knew?
that's what my
I didn't
husband
grow
does.
up playing catch, but this
Yeah.
is a new skill now that I'm a boy mom. There's
Yeah.
only boys in
He's
the
always
house.
like, you
Yeah.
always get distracted and then you end up like plucking dead leaves in the garden. It's like, yep, I do.
Yes,
Hoping
I
you
do.
don't
Do you
notice.
want to come and help me do that? It's really fun.
So the program you created, which I think is also in and of itself super interesting because you started getting into online course creation as I was extricating myself. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's when I was like, Kristen, what are you doing? Why are you
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
this? So
Yeah.
you have still ongoing a thriving business. Do you own any, like, are any of the locations considered yours exclusively?
I didn't until the 1st of April when we had a location that had to be taken over as a corporate store. So I have that now. It is something where it's not normally what I do because like I said, they're two totally separate business models. To
Yeah.
have your employees be, people that actually work in the location and
Yeah.
guests that come in for manis and petties is so different than franchise partners that
Right.
you're guiding through the experience of entrepreneurship. And so I typically don't do that. So like right now I have one, but like hopefully within a couple months it'll be refranchised into another location.
So you have how many locations do you have are
There's
there now?
38 right now.
And so you have this thriving business and you decide to create a personal development program.
Yes. I think just because, you know what, like the 10 spot is 20 years old and I have incredible people in place. Like again, I'm a doer of stuff. Like I like the writing of the manuals and the working on the business instead of in the business type of a thing. And so I, through a lot of time, like through 20 years of actually working in and on the business and going through a lot of different executive level people and procedures and things, I have such a great team that it's and that is so deep in franchising knowledge and just knows their role so well that it's something where they are like the 10 spot sort of runs not by itself, but like kind of, it's a well-oiled machine. It's 20 years old now. And so I've got people that like frankly do a better job of some of the stuff than I do. And I think, to be honest, like my magic is in creating stuff. And there's, when the business needs to run, it's a franchise business, it needs to run a certain way. You can't have as much like, let's do this, let's change that. Like to your point of I'm a
Yeah.
quick action person, and you can't be that quick action in a franchise model. I'm not the only stakeholder. There's a whole bunch of other people. It's their money, it's their thing. And so you need somebody that is really great at being methodical and getting all of that engagement and being, taking the data and running with the franchise partners, and sort of it runs less like a dictatorship and it's actually more of a democracy in terms of franchising. And so I just have awesome people. And so it's left me in the situation where like, I know everything. I'm the doer of some stuff, but for the most part, my president and COO is sort of more of at the head of the franchising side of things. I still love like in terms of franchising the new bars and bringing on new partners, because I want to make sure that, I'm still really heavily involved in the franchise sales side of things. But yeah, it's given me some time to just think about like what's next and what am I excited about doing. And I think just because I was like, this shit works so well. Like, and also too, it's not a stretch because the 10 spots purpose is to make people feel like a 10 so that they can live their best life ever. Because again, it all comes down to confidence, where nobody is kicking ass and taking names in life when they feel like a total dump truck inside or outside. And so that's always been our purpose, is we're there to just make people feel like a 10, not look like a 10, because it's not about what you look like. It's about how you feel inside. And yes, I truly do believe that when you get your nails done and you're feeling like your brows are looking good and your legs are hairless, you're like, all right, I'm a new lady, let's go. And so it's always been that. It's always been about living your best life ever, and how do we contribute to that in some sort of a way. And then I just felt like, well, I know how to contribute even more to people living their lives at a 10 than just making them feel put together and polished. I know how to actually do it in a really systemized way. And so that's sort of, it was always one of those things I was like, I should write a book one day. And like, even I looked at one point, I was like, oh, I did start to write a book about this. It was called like, Get Your Shit Together. I was like, oh, I guess I never did anything with it. And then I felt like instead of just having it be a book, I wanted to actually be able to teach it and have it in a way, because so much of it is not just like in a book. It's like, you have to do the work of actually, like, to create your core values is not just like, creating core values is great and here's how to do it. It's like, no, go and do them now. Like, you need to actually do the work in order to get the value of it. You can't just read about this. You actually have to do it in order to have the transformation. And so to me, I felt like a program was better than not. And so it's not like, there's one thing to just have the curriculum. So there's a curriculum, but then for me, it's about, there's the coaching in it and there's the community aspect as well. And it's so fun. Like, it's my happy place. It lives on Circle. And I'm just like, ladies, hi. Cause when it's private too, you feel like now you can really, you get the more of the real me inside of it. And some of the stuff I'm just like, oh, this was a fail. And I didn't like, it's so nice to have a group of people that you can connect with that are all about leveling up their life and all about like, I actually like F life at a 7. I want to be fully optimized and really go for it. And so, yeah, it's been really fun, but it's been wildly different. I mean, starting an online program is so different than a bricks and mortar franchise company. And so it's not without a bunch of learning as well. But again, it's fun. It's fun learning. I haven't had to like Google ads. I was like, what do I need Google ads for? Like, we have storefronts. People walk by, they come in, we're part of a neighborhood. It's easy. And then you're like, oh, this lives on a website in a sea of billions and billions of other websites. And like, how do you actually market it and get people to know about it is a very different thing. So, and it's nice that I still have the 10 spot too. And that's my primary thing. And this is not something that it can take its time to get my bearings and get my footing and figure out how it all works in a bigger way.
So who would you say the program is for?
It is for, I mean, to be honest, the stuff that's in it, like, I wish I knew when I was in my 20s, but the modules around everything from all of the stuff that I talked about with like purpose, core values. But then it's one thing just to create the strategy for your life. It's another thing to actually be able to execute and action on it. And so there's a lot of mindset, habits, and hacks for energy management, energy organization, for creating more fun and fulfillment in your life in a really practical way. Then there's also stuff about how to get great connections with the people that matter most in your life, from family to your actual person. Like, module 8 is hot and sassy, just how to make sex actually fun and interesting, because like, it's so easy to be like, okay, I'm sleeping, it's so late, let's watch a show, and not do it. But it's like, if you want a best friend, amazing connected relationship with your person, that is the easiest way to create connection. And it's also so important. It's one of those things, I saw such a good TikTok on it where it's like, I think that sometimes it can be downplayed that intimacy is not that important, but it's like, so it's not important enough to prioritize in your life and have it be something that keeps you connected. And yet, if one person in that relationship were to step out and get intimacy from somebody else, relationship over, because it is that important. And so I find there's a module on that. So I would say that even though the information, anybody at any age can do it, I really do focus on women that are in a partnership and have some kids, because your life is just different. Being when I was 20 years old or 24 years old is a very different, like, time management responsibility, like pulled in 1,000 different directions, accountability for things. It's so different than when you're in a life stage of in your 30s and 40s and you have dependence and a relationship that you're fully committed to. So yes, it's for my ladies in that demo.
And did you end up running an in-person version of it?
So we were set to do that. And then do you remember across the street from the Scotiabank, a building caught fire? And
yeah.
that one. So it was like that Friday, and then it was set to go on the Tuesday was our first session. So I ended up not running it. The other thing is that I decided to cut my body in half in March 4th. And this was starting April 10th, I think it was.
Okay, so we're past time, but now that you mentioned cutting your body in half, we will address it and then we'll wrap it up, because this wasn't just like you on stage with a magician.
Yeah, no, actually that's what Chad says. He's like, oh, if anyone's like, oh, funny scars, where'd you get that from? Be like, used to be a magician's assistant.
You went for a tummy tuck.
I did. Yes, I did. It's one of those things where after I lost a bunch of the weight, I had like rocks and socks for boobs. Like they're just like, I had nothing. So I was like, I'm going to get my chest done. And I signed up for the mommy makeover. So it's like, you're like, I had a bunch of loose skin and whatever, because tummy tucks are not a weight loss surgery. They're a skin removal surgery. So I was like, let's do the full mommy makeover. I had a C-section scar anyway. So I was like, this is perfect. I had a hernia that needed fixed and like some muscle repair. I was like, this is like an all-in-one. Let's just do it. And then I chickened out and I only got my chest done, which I love my boobs so much. They're one of my favorite things about me. They're so fun. And then I chickened out. And then like 4 years later, I was like, man, I'm sad I didn't get that done. Like I should have just like done it at the same time. And I regret not doing it. So I booked a consultation. I set up the surgery. I paid $1,000. And then I chickened out again and I lost that money. And then I was like, okay, we'll leave it. And so now it's been 12 years, basically, I think since 10 or 12 years since the initial time that I booked it. And I was still like humming and like, I've never given up on the idea of wanting it. And it got to the point where I was like, dude, shit or get off the pot. Like you clearly have not stopped thinking about this. So like, let's just do it. And it came down to one of those things of like, choose a venture. It's an experience. Right. Like, let's just do this. So it was way harder than I thought. Like if you think that losing, like I had lost like 80 pounds, I was like, that was a walk in the park compared to the recovery. I'm actually 6 weeks today. For me, I mean, it's not everybody's experience, but for me, it was like, this was brutal. It was brutal.
Are you still glad you did it? Like, was it worth it?
Well, I don't know because I don't have the results yet. Like you're still like I'm bigger than I was before I went in. Right. And again, it's not a weight loss thing, but I'm sure it'll work out great. But it's been the actual recovery was awful for me. And I don't know my feelings about it. I think it was extreme. And I'm actually shocked that you're allowed to do this. Especially because I'm like, don't doctors take a Hippocratic oath that like you're supposed to like do no harm? And I was like, this was harm done, but also it's for a good, but I asked for it. And if the results are good, like, I don't know. Right. So the jury is out. I became much more grateful for my body. I think it's changed my headspace about things because now I'm just like, just the ability, I got to go back to working out today. And for me, it's not about the, being toned and being whatever. And I think having gone through a bunch of different body shapes, you can sort of get hung up in different stages. And now I feel like having done this, I'm like, I'm just so happy to have a working, able body that can heal itself, that is muscle. Like before, you're like, oh, it's about being healthy. And I'm like, fuck that. It was about being skinny and it was about being toned and looking good and whatever. And now I'm just like, no, actually I do care that I can move my body and that it is healthy. And I do want to build muscle for longevity and being able to do stuff because being pinned to your bed and having that thing. And I wish that it didn't take something so extreme for me to get the gratitude for what I had and what I have. But sometimes that's how life works. And you need something to throw you into a different perspective in order to gain the perspective that you have. So yeah, I mean, it was an adventure and I've enjoyed sharing it with people because it's also one of those things where I think there's a lot of, you feel like I've done this thing that's so freaking vain and then you feel a bit ashamed about it. or at least I initially thought that. I was like, I don't want to tell anybody, and I'm going to say it's like a hernia thing. And then I was like, why? Like, why do that? And when I started to talk about it, I realized so many other women have actually done this. So many other, people think about this. And I also wanted to share the experience of like, it wasn't easy, and it is extreme. And I don't know if I would necessarily
Right.
do it again.
I mean, I'm someone, I don't even have my ears pierced.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
averse I am, not just to
Yeah.
body modification, but really elective pain. Like if I can, like you're talking about
Yeah.
like having your
Yeah.
legs waxed and Brazilians, I'm like,
Yeah. 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 You're like, nope, never done that.
or that ship has sailed. But I mean, I find when, it's very easy in the flow of life to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, oh, well, there's this wrong and this wrong and this wrong. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
also at 46, I trained myself to be able to do a pull up. And
Yeah.
anytime I get sick and I can't work out and then I'm back to it, I'm like, oh, thank God. None of those things
Yeah.
matter because now I can do
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z with
Yeah.
ease and grace and even
Yeah.
carry groceries or whatever it is. And it's a really tricky thing. And I think it's a tricky thing at this point in our life when
Mhm.
like this is kind of as good as it's gonna get. At least that's what I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's
Exactly. Yeah.
we're at the top of the roller coaster and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hang on to youth, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to hang on to vitality and build longevity.
1,000%. 1,000%. Yep. Yep. And I think also too, I want to just have more gratitude and perspective for the fact that getting old is such a privilege. Like other people don't have it. So when I see wrinkles and things, and like, that's not to say that I'm not going to try to like, fix them and do what I got it. But there's also like, it's not like you said, it's coming. Like we can kind of do these things to sort of, do whatever we can for it. But like at the same time, like you're a youthful nubile body of like in your 20s. Like this is not that is not achievable for, for the future at all. And so just sort of, like you said, have that perspective. Cause like there was about 10 days where I just could not move. Like I was just stuck in this V position in the bed, and I'd get up and walk around, but that was so hard and awful. And to try to even just get back in the bed, it'd be like, I'd have the remote control just like out of arm's reach, and to not even be able to grab it yourself. I was like, this is wild. And I know that I did this to myself. So I was not even thinking that there was any kind of like sympathy or whatever, like fine. But I'm like, I am so grateful that I live in a healthy body that is so able-bodied and can do these things. And so it just gave me a lot of perspective and gratitude for sure.
When we started, before we hit record, we were both like, look at us. Like we're grown-ups. I think you used the word old, which I don't think we're that old, but I think
so we grew older.
We grew old together. But I think that, the way you live and the way I aim to live, there's a vibrancy that comes from the spirit that is ageless.
Yeah.
And we haven't connected in any deeper, meaningful way in almost 2 decades. But there's a shared view, I think, on what, doing what we can and really making
you still feel the same to me.
I am
Which I think is what you're saying. Yeah.
So do you. There's an energy that attracts you to people. And I also have to say before and you can give me all your URLs where everyone has to go find you. And but I don't know if you remember this either, but you had made a rule because we were both like, we were kind of husband hunting. Like we were on a mission to find some good men.
Think? Like the first one that seemed good, I like jumped at.
Well, I kind of did too, but he was like, wait, like I'm not ready for this was the response I got. But you had told me, you're like, we're going to listen to positive music. Like we're only listening to Jason Mraz and we're going to pull in a positive man. And I started listening to Jason Mraz on repeat. He's still my favorite. I married someone who has what I think of as like a bit of a Jason Mraz.
He has a Jason Mraz
spirit.
Yeah.
And I'm tone deaf. So to me, he sounds just like him when he sings. And my husband plays guitar and sings. And we've met Jason. And it became like a foundation. Like he is our soundtrack. Every album. I have not listened to the new grandma-inspired gospel album he came out with. But maybe it's great. I don't know yet. But it was just, you really inspired so much about my life. And
Oh my
I
God, I
still,
love that. So I don't remember saying we're only going to listen to Jason Mraz, but I love that we were into this. Yeah.
because we would, I think, I don't know if it was with you, but I started like, I'd go for bike rides by the lake in the morning and I'd listen to
Yeah.
Jason Mraz and be like,
Yeah.
all right, we're in the spirit of like,
Yeah.
everything's
We're doing it.
possible. Let's do this. Let's live this
Oh my
adventure.
gosh. Yes, totally.
It's great. Well, you
I love
are,
that. I'm going to do that too. I'm going to only listen. You know what? I haven't taken that advice in a while. I'm just going to listen up. I'm going to make a little positive vibes playlist and just go ride my bike down Lakeshore. That's a great idea. Feel like I can do that now that I'm not.
gently and mindfully.
Gently,
I started,
yeah.
I mean, I like when I'm weaving, I listen to music, and I was listening to a playlist called All Out 90s, and I started paying attention to the lyrics. I'm like, what was this programming? Like, what is this that I was listening, like bopping to when I was 13 years old? Like, this is horrendous.
It's so true. It's so true. I love when people make TikToks of like lyrics and what they actually were, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
Kristen, you have like, you do long format episodes of your life on YouTube, which are hilarious.
Oh, thank you. You can actually watch the whole tummy tuck journey from like being in the waiting room, being like, what the fuck am I about to do? Oh my God.
I started watching it.
That's a rough one. Cause you know what? I don't even know how I was able to grab the camera and actually like show some of the stuff, but I was like, ooh, when I was editing that, I cried. I was like, girl, what, like, why? And
it brought tears to my eyes.
Yeah. I was like, ugh. Anyway.
Yeah, it was a lot. I did not complete it. And then I sort of went through to the healing. I'm like, oh, wow, this is major.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of oscillating emotions from being like, I'm doing fine, to like crying and meltdown and like, what did I do? Yeah. But it's good. It's entertaining.
I mean, you are very entertaining, and your soon to be fiance, your partner is adorable. And
I love him so much.
Yeah, it seems like you found a really, really compatible energy for you, which
totally. Yeah, I'm like, we lived 1,000 lifetimes before this one. I'm just so happy I get to live another one with him. So yeah.
That's beautiful.
But thank you.
All right, Kristen, where can everyone go to find you?
Subscribe.
Your course, for sure. Everyone should go check out, especially who this audience is. I think it will resonate with a lot of people.
That would be amazing. So that would be my website. So it's xkristen.com, like 10, and like a little kiss, like bye, kiss. And then all of my social media handles are the same thing. So it's x dot and then Kristen Gale, KristnGale. So that would be on YouTube and Instagram. And I've just started TikToking, which is kind of fun, but yeah, probably YouTube's like the main one. Like you said, I really love long format and YouTube. And I just find you can be so, I don't know, intimate and real with your YouTubers.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun to get to chat with you today. Yeah. And thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, girl.
All right, my friends. And there wraps another info-rich, mighty inspiring episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope you'll go check out Kristen's program. You can access our show notes for this episode with those links if you go to courageouspivot.com and just click on this episode. You'll find all of the goods there. And of course, I always appreciate your sharing this with a friend. Email, text message is a great way to share an episode. Social media works too. But helping us spread the word of how we can all, in Kristen's words, live life at a 10 is what will change our energy, change the world, change the dynamics and how we engage with this beautiful life that we have. Thank you as always for being here, and I will see you, chat with you, and connect with you in the next episode. Have a great rest of your day.